Now let's proceed to the solution of question number 4. Now question number 4 is again from the writing section. However, rather than a short composition, it's a long composition question. If you read it carefully, it simply says a book fair was organized in your city, Bhopal. Thousands of people, including a large number of students, visited the fair. It aroused a great interest in reading and buying books. You want that such book fairs are held in other cities of the state also to promote the habit of reading. Write a letter in 120 to 150 words to the editor of a local newspaper giving your views. You are Navtej or Navita and the address is mentioned as F112 Malviya Nagar, Bhopal. Now if you recall, the marking scheme clearly mentions that it is a 6-mark question. So as far as the distribution of marks is concerned, format carries 1 mark. Obviously, it should include the sender's address, date, receiver's address, subject heading, salutation along with complimentary clause. Once you have all of these, the format carrying 1 mark is sorted. Similarly, the content carries 3 marks and as far as the expression is concerned, it again carries 2 marks. Expression has to be taken into account in terms of grammatical accuracy, appropriate words, spellings, coherence and relevance of ideas along with style. So what are the value points that I should keep in mind? Firstly, introduction here should carry the request which is to the concerned authorities to take the action, not to the editor. It is not a direct request that you are sending to the editor. So do not write that I would like you to take the concerned action. You are addressing the letter to the authorities, not to the editor. Similarly, the need to address the matter has to be emphasized. Raise the issue by citing the personal experience of attending the book fair organized in your city, because you are talking about an experience you had. Based on that, you are advising the same to the authorities. So talk about that experience. Now what more you can talk about? You can emphasize upon the experience of the book fair, give details of the activities in which you participated. Similarly, suggestions to encourage the practice must be given, because that's the reason you're writing this letter. Great deals that you found exciting should be mentioned that encourage the habit of buying more books among all, because your focus is to highlight how reading has to be encouraged among all. And how am I supposed to conclude after giving all these suggestions? In conclusion, you have to make sure that you are positive, straightforward with pleasant tone, and use of polite language has to be kept in mind, because that is how you end a letter that is being sent to an editor who is supposed to raise awareness about the same issue. Now, if you take all these points into account, the sample letter that you can actually begin carries firstly all the format details. So precisely here you have the sender's address, date being mentioned, give adequate space, you have to leave a line space here. Then the person to whom I am addressing the letter, the editor, the name of newspaper along with the address, followed by the subject line which simply states promoting book fairs in all states. Now here, when I begin my letter addressing sir or madam, I have to keep in mind that the beginning has to be straightforward. So through the columns of your esteemed newspaper, I would like to draw the attention of the readers and of the authorities towards the need of promoting the habit of reading among all by organizing more book fairs in different cities, because you are addressing this in all states. Based on this, the value points that we talked about can become part of your main body. So this main body, where you can add your own paragraphs, have to keep in mind the value points that we discussed. Once you have written all that, then the best way to conclude this would be, I hope in the light of these observations, the concerned authorities are able to find suitable ways of promoting the events of book fairs in different cities, thereby giving everyone a chance to be motivated to pursue reading as a habit. So on a pleasant note, I have to ensure that my letter ends, not on something that I am ordering to the editor. And you can sign yourself as either Navtej or Navita based on the question given. I hope the letter part tells you that these letter to the editor questions are basically addressing your way of giving an argument, presenting your ideas. So the logical flow has to be kept in mind. Now in case you picked up the alternative that was given in question number 4, which simply says you carried a hit and run accident victim to a local hospital, you were shocked to see that in its casualty ward the conditions were chaotic. The patient was attended to after a lot of precious time was lost. You are Deepak or Deepa, A114 Roopnagar, Delhi. Write a letter of complaint in 120 to 150 words to the chief medical officer of the hospital. So this becomes a letter of complaint. So the format requirements remain the same, but the value points are going to change. Now in case of the value points, I can begin my introduction with what the complaint is about. So precisely list the problems that you observed, such as mention details of the accident that occurred and what you observed on arrival at the hospital. Be very specific in the beginning. Similarly, describe the miserable conditions of the casualty ward. Emphasize upon the negligent staff that was present. Mention details because it is a complaint letter, not something which you are developing as an argument. Similarly, mention details of the missing doctors on call in the ER. So once you provide all these details, then the complaint sounds more factual and gives you a reason to highlight the issue. Followed by ask for redressal of complaint. How do you do that? Change the paragraph and ask the authorities to take necessary actions to improve upon the conditions. Simultaneously ask them to provide better healthcare facilities and work on cleanliness of the wards. Also, urge them to punish the defaulters and the negligent staff members. So this is the precise reason why the complaint has to sound more emphatic. Now, if I look at my sample, the beginning part, the format part remains the same. I have my sender's address, the date, the receiver along with the address and the subject specifically mentioning complaint regarding dissatisfactory medical services. Now, the best way to begin this would be very to the point beginning, simply put up as sir or madam being your salutation. It brings me immense pain to draw the attention of the concerned authorities towards the miserable conditions of the hospital wards and the dissatisfactory medical services that the hospital is providing to the emergency patients that are brought into the ER wards. In a very straightforward tone, mention the exact issue. And then I beg to highlight the following issues that were observed when I last brought in a casualty patient in the ER ward on 20th February 2020. After this, you can give pointers of issue that you observed. No need to give lengthy paragraphs. And the best way to conclude this would be, I take a very poor view of the situation and would like the concerned authorities to take immediate measures to address the matter at the earliest and find suitable ways to improve upon the service. Ultimately, right to proper health care is a must for all. And then you sign yourself as Deepak or Deepa as prescribed in the question, and I'm sure the letter would be good to go. So I hope the explanation was satisfactory. With this, you can easily score a good mark in the letter section. Let's proceed to question number 5 and see how the solution goes there.